Okay, so this is Mr. Koskar, and today we are going to be, I am going to be talking to you about the GCSE Fine Art course that we provide at Cannons High School. So I am going to start off just talking to you about the components, about the exam and the assessment objectives. So in year 10, when you start, you will start with your component 1 and we will explore the natural forms. In general, throughout the course, you have two components, component 1 and component 2. Component 1 is actually 60% of your assessment of the final grade, and then component 2 is 40% of your assessment of final grade. So for component 1 you will get much more time, but even for component 2 you'll still get enough time to complete it and get your 40% assessment. So you start off component 1 in year 10 already, and then you move on to your component 2 in spring year 11. Okay, so by the time you reach the exam, which is 40%, you have enough skills to your artwork will completely change from what you can do now to what you will be able to do by then, because you will study a lot. And I say this so many times to my students, art is just a skill that you can improve, okay, that you can just work on, and the more time and effort that you put into it, the better you will get at it. So so for component 1, your students, so you guys will complete a portfolio, which is a sketchbook, and in your sketchbook, in your portfolio that you will later on show to your colleges and sixth forms, that you will take with you to your interviews. Inside of this portfolio you will have your artist analysis, your wet and dry media experiments, your developmental studies, and these can take the form of sketches, paintings, sculptures and printmakings and collages, pretty much anything that you can do artistically. You will then also have a final piece, but you will be completing that piece in your mock exam and your exam, and then you have your evaluation of your final piece as well. That's for the 60% of your grade for your component 1. And then for the component 2, it's pretty similar as well. So you have your artist analysis, your wet and dry media experiments, your developmental studies, so sketches, paintings, etc. And then the final piece that you will be completing in exam conditions. You will have the evaluation of your final piece there also. So in year 10 you will start looking at the artist Karl Blossfeldt. We will give you that artist and you'll be working in the style of this artist. But later on in your component 1, after you finish that, you will get to choose your own artist and you will get to work in your own styles. So you'll really kind of find yourself as an artist, and you'll get to develop skills that you really want to develop. I know in Key Stage 3 a lot of you ask me, Miss, when can we do something different that I want to do? When can I explore my favorite art technique? And you will get to do that in Key Stage 4, because that's independent work is so important here. And me, Mr. Riedel and Ms. Barnes are here to help you and guide you, and I will show you how this works here. Okay, so in this example, all of the students are actually working on the same thing. This is the same thing, so natural forms, Karl Blossfeldt. However, they just present their work and do, completely different things. So in this example, you have some drawings of butterflies, and that's natural forms, and then you have flowers, and you have Karl Blossfeldt here. So they just present it in such different ways, but they are learning about the same things. So we teach you, and then you decide what you want to do with the information that we give you, and you decide to work in whatever style you want to work in. Okay, so here, fine art. What are the possible career options? And actually, before we get into that, I also wanted to speak to you about your exam, because I think a lot of you might have some questions about that. Okay, so for the exam, for the exam, you will have a 10-hour exam. Okay, and it sounds scary, doesn't it? 10 hour, oh my god, what am I going to do in 10 hours? But all you have to do is complete your final piece. Your final piece, which could be a drawing, could be a painting, whatever, could be a 3D sculpture, whatever it is that you want it to be, whatever. This is your response to what you've been learning about. So you have 10 hours to complete that final piece. Could be a three piece of work. It could be a sculpture, whatever it is that you want to do. This is your response to what you've been learning about. So it's not as scary as it sounds, and there's many reasons why, why choose art. Why should I choose art? You might ask yourself that, but if the options that you're thinking about are quite heavy and theory based, art is such a good subject to it's a practical subject, such a good subject to study, do your work, relax in the classroom. It's a very nice atmosphere. Everyone's just quietly working on their art pieces, and it's a lovely atmosphere if you are interested. And you will get a lot of different. You get to work with a lot of different equipment. So you will learn about oil paintings, watercolor, shading, graphite techniques, charcoal, lino prints. You'll do watercolor. You'll do collages, 3D, ink paintings, photography, acrylic paintings. And I know that photography isn't, obviously we have a separate photography course as well. But in fine art, you will do some photography for your portfolio. You'll be learning how to do acrylic paints, pastels. You have access to the dark room, and you can explore different techniques there, and you'll be able to do all of those things as you go along the course. So you also get access to to Photoshop. You have a few lessons on how to do digital art as well, and if you want to explore and expand on that, then that's fine. You can also do that as well. You can then continue making your digital art later on. What skills do you gain from fine art? And there are so many different skills. I couldn't even actually fit them all in one, but there's so many different skills that you gain, like solving problems, making decisions, thinking creatively, and being good at communication skills. And there's loads of technical skills, and you can have a look at this, and organizing yourself, and learning about choice of color, and working with others. It's a big one as well. Helping each other as well. You might you might want to work together on some photography or some paintings, and that's fine. Going back to this here. A lot of you might ask, what are the possible career options, and what can I study further as well? And there is so many different careers that you can gain. There's very fun careers. Because you will get to choose when you get a little bit older, such as architecture. You can be an art technician, art therapist, art valuer, artist in residence, art administrator, community arts worker, illustrator, lecturer, multimedia artist, a mural artist, museum gallery curator, painter, printmaker, sculptor, teacher, and there's so many more. But you can also do further studies in 2D and 3D animation, 3D design, applied arts, architecture, art history, art therapy, ceramics, digital media, fine art painting, fine art printmaking, fine art sculpture, game design, illustration, industrial design, interior architecture and design, visual communication, visual effects for film and television, and there's many more depending on the portfolio requirements. Like I forgot to mention graphic design as well. Myself, I've studied graphic design, so I just started off with art and design at school, and then doing something completely different later on, like graphic design, which is completely digital. You know, everything that I learned later on after school was based on digital art. So there's so many different things that you can do with the skills that you will gain in art. What else do we need to talk about? So again, I just wanted to emphasize on the fact that, you know, you'll get a lot of freedom, and sometimes in the past, you know, I had parents both and students asking me, Miss, what artists will I be looking at? What will I be learning in art, and what art movements will be exploring and looking at? Now, like I said before, you're in component 1 already. The first artist that we give you, Karl Blossfeldt, is just to get you into that routine of how to go about your assessment objectives. And I will talk about assessment objectives in a very second as well. So you will learn about Karl Blossfeldt just to get you into that routine of artist research, doing your experiments for this artist, and that's why we stick to that artist. But later on, you can really, you know, choose your own artist, choose your own art movements, and learn and explore an artist of your own choice. Okay, so again, if you are into, let's say, anime, you can choose an artist that does that. And if you're into collages, you can choose an artist that does collages. And this will really allow you to explore and find yourself as an artist, okay? Because you won't be limited to what you can do. And if you want to do ink, you can do ink. And some of your peers might just want to stick to oil paints. That's fine as well. So that's why your work will look completely different, but you are learning about the same thing. So you will get to choose your own stuff, and you will get to discover your own ideas and discover your own artists and art movements and your own styles and techniques. Okay, so in terms of the assessment objectives, many of you in Year 9 might already know, because we try to kind of introduce them to you guys early so that you kind of understand the concept. And I know that in Year 7, you know, in Year 8, you guys did a lot of artist research. So that's actually what the assessment objectives are. The assessment objectives, there's 4 of them, and the first one is all about, you know, doing your artist research, your writing, and so that's about your research. Your assessment objective 2 is about your experiments, so using paints, using pastels and oil pastels and charcoals, and doing those experiments like you would, let's say, in this example that I showed you earlier on right here. That would be your assessment objective 2. Now, assessment objective 3 is your annotations mainly. So you talking about your techniques, you talking about what you did, who inspired you, Karl Blossfeldt in this example. And then your assessment objective 4 is your final piece, which is your exam. Okay, so your exam is very important, but at the same time, again, it's not as scary as it sounds. A lot of you would say, oh my god, 10 hours, how can I? No, it really isn't 10 hours. If you know, a lot of students even finish before and then get on with something to do with their portfolio. Okay, so don't worry too much about the 10-hour exam, the fact that it sounds so scary. Okay, so if you have any further questions, please let me or Mr. Riddle know. We're happy to answer any emails. Email us if you need it, if you need to know more or know anything else about the course. And if you're unsure whether you should choose photography or art, okay, we always say that, you know, if you're good at art, and you know, if you have that skill already and you want to explore and you want to expand on that skill, then definitely go for art. If you are interested in creative visual subjects, then but you're quite unsure about your skills, and you know, you might not be as good as you want to be yet. Again, remember, art is a skill and you can definitely do it. But if you're interested in digital aspects of art and digital, more into digital and photography stuff, then definitely go for photography. But you don't limit yourself and don't think that you will only learn about digital art in photography, because that's not the case. You will also learn about digital art in your fine art. It will be up to you what you decide to expand on later on. Okay, so have a good day. Let me know if you have any questions. Email me, email Mr. Riedel, and good luck.